I am Julianne Meyer. You are watching Own Your Wellness. And you know how sometimes when you meet somebody that just resonates with you and you're so excited because it's like, oh, there you are. That's kind of how I feel about this guest that's coming on today. She's an amazing soul and she happens to live in California like I do. So one of these days we are planning on getting together in real life. I am so excited to introduce you to her. You know, you'd never guess that I speak Italian well because I am going to murder her. Not that her name is Italian, but it is a love language. And I'm going to do my best to pronounce it the best way that I can, and then she can correct me. Nana Ponceleon, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Sorry for murdering your name.
I was just recording you saying that.
I love it. I love it. We can definitely, celebrate that. And anytime like social media, stuff like that, I'm so down. So I do all this kind of recording. My husband's like, can you put your phone down, girl? But anyway, enough about me and my life. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. And I would love to just start off with having you tell a little bit about yourself, because not everybody knows who you are yet, even though you do have a TED Talk.
I do. So I have done a TEDx talk, as you said. That was last year, called Feminine Masculine Energy is a Balance. And that is a topic and an area that I do coaching on. So I am a balance and restoration coach. And I am an actress as well. And I used to say I was a former business corporate woman, and somebody said, you still are, you are. So I was in corporate before, let's put it that way. Worked for Microsoft for about 12 years, Philip Brothers and other corporations back in Venezuela, where I'm from.
Oh, that's beautiful. And, I think it's interesting how especially in the United States, but just around the world, it's kind of like you have to fit in a certain box somehow. And that's like, I'm former this, or I'm now this, or and it's like, you're still the same person. You're still the same soul. It just looks a little different. How you show up looks a little different. So I like that your friend or whoever that was like, girl, that's still a part of you.
Yep, it is. It is. It very much is.
I love that. And, it takes courage to step into something different and have your life look different. What was it that got you to sort of go, you know what? I want something different for myself.
Yeah. So the courage came really not so much for deciding to go from one career to the other, because that's not how it happened. I wasn't that courageous. It just happened because I resigned from corporate. So I guess the courage came from saying, in the height of Microsoft's boom and things were going fantastic. People were making tons of money in Microsoft with the stock splitting, and we got stock options and whatever, and saying goodbye to that. I think that was the courage. But I put my personal life and my daughter's first, because for 12 years I've been on a plane. I was working in the office, long hours. And though I can't complain, because it just made me learn and grow and have the career that I wanted, I wasn't happy. And that's why I resigned. And the acting came about just by accident. I stumbled onto a workshop that a friend recommended that I do to relax and just release stress, because he said, you're kind of artistic. Like Microsoft would have these year events, huge events, and they had social things and shows and whatever. And who was on stage every time? This one over here. Or dancing or do whatever, whatever. So he said, you're artistic, go do that. And I did. And I walked into that black box theater that day, and it was like, oh my God, this is home. This is what I want to do. I didn't decide to make it into a career, but I wanted to be doing that many hours of the week. And that's what I did. I did workshop after workshop, came to LA on a summer to just, study acting, brought the family with me. So we took it as a vacation. And here I am a decade later, being an actress as well.
I love that, and I think it's kind of fascinating because I think a lot of us we're told to follow our passions, and that is like, but I like that you didn't necessarily want acting to be the main thing in your life necessarily. Like if it were to take off, I'm sure like you wouldn't say, "Oh no, I don't want this," but you have another calling and another way that you want to show up in the world, and it all combines together. So all these bits and pieces, like I'm sure that being an actress also helps you with coaching, you know even like the confidence and the speaking with people and being out in front and all of those things that people don't realize, that we can cross pollinate our gifts and
Yes,
be
absolutely. And
useful.
and you see, in reality, what I wanted to do ever since I was a little girl was to sing and dance. Not act, but sing and dance. Those are my two passions of the arts, if you want to call. Yeah, I mean, those are my passions ever since I was a little girl. Um, so I bring it into my work every time I have a workshop, because my workshops, the exercises that I do are very much acting exercises, some of them, because they are perfect. They are great for connecting with the feminine side of us.
Ah,
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're really interesting. And it just became a huge tool for me, really,
Mhm.
to use my
I'm thinking too, because my husband does stand up, like stand up. He's a
comedian.
stand-up comedian, sorry. So, and I've been with him to a few open mics and things like that. I mean, he used to be like Irvine Improv, and so I mean, he's actually been on real stages. But I was thinking about, if you took an improv class, how that might actually help you in business too. Or even just in life, yes, and the whole idea of yes, and instead of, I have to be
The,
perfect.
the yes and is a huge one. I use it in my workshops. I don't do it in every workshop, but we do circles, and I have the ladies receive a compliment, right? And what usually happens is we innately try to excuse ourselves for the compliment, right? It's like, um, we were talking about hair before, right? It's like, oh, but my hair is not looking quite nice today, or whatever. So in the workshop, it's like you're only allowed to say yes or thank you, and I would like. So yes, improv is a great, great tool in life and personal and business for sure.
Absolutely. And you bring up something, I'm remembering the first time we spoke, we talked about the compliments and how, especially women, have a difficulty. Like you said, it's almost like you excuse it. Say, like I had a brand new dress on. I say, oh, this old thing, or I only paid blah, blah, blah for it somehow, instead of just saying thank you.
Yes, 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 yes. And in my TEDx, I talk about this, right? Because I focused in the TEDx on one aspect of the feminine, which was the receiving, actually. So it is a huge thing for women today and for men, because here's the thing: us blocking the receiving makes men um, disengage from approaching women, from talking to women, and it doesn't have to be in any sensual, sexual way, but they're afraid of just say anything, because you can have a friend, a male friend, compliment you on anything physical about you, your body, your hair, your makeup, and it used to be wonderful to do that, and
Mhm.
for us and for them. And now it's this thing that they don't want to do it because we get offended, and, and we need it, because the truth is we need it We may reject it. We may say we don't, but we do.
You know, yes. Yes, we do. I know I do, and I consider myself a very secure person, but I still like that positive feedback. I still want to be noticed, to be seen, and to be appreciated. And to me, those are universal things that people would like to experience being seen and heard, you know?
It
But
comes from birth.
exactly, exactly. And, I think too about how my husband and I were talking the other day, and I said something about how when a woman gives me a compliment, sometimes it's easier because I know for sure that there's nothing behind it besides nice dress or whatever. But then I was thinking too about how that's not actually accurate, because I remember this, and this was years ago. I was at work, or I wasn't working at that particular time, but I was at my work, which was like this huge department store. And this gentleman was there, and he said to me, "I love your makeup." And I'll never forget that, because I could tell that it was so genuine. He just said it and then bounced. And I was like, I mean, this has been like 25 years and I still remember.
And listen, and even, and I challenge people on this because I get a lot of resistance on receiving, the compliments and receiving anything that people want to give you, as long as you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
Even as a compliment that wants something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if they want something else, they want to go out with you, they want to invite you somewhere, or they want sex, or whatever it is, even those, why not receive it? And you can set the boundary, because
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing: the fact that I say thank you to your compliment of great makeup or great body, for example, let's go edgy, right? Let's
Yeah.
say they say you have a great body, and that's as close as we can get to the oh my God, right? Why not just say thank you?
Mm-hmm.
And if that goes anywhere, it depends on you. You want to stop it there and you just leave, or if they say anything else, you put a limit. But I mean, if you do have a great body, or you feel like you have a great body, accept the compliment.
Exactly. And for me too, I don't know about you, but when I'm giving somebody a compliment, if they don't receive it, it feels, I don't like the way it makes me feel. I'm trying to do something nice and you're not allowing me to do that.
Yes. Well, and that is known, absolutely. Receiving a gift is as much a joy for the person receiving it as it is for the person giving it.
Absolutely. And I'm
Our
with you too.
oxytocin goes up for both of us.
Exactly. But, I want to step back to this whole idea, even if there's something behind it. I agree with you, because it doesn't mean that the compliment isn't genuine anyway.
Exactly. Yes.
And anybody could have another motive or whatever the case may be, but why? It's not an invitation, as you were saying. And I really wanted to highlight that for the people who are watching, because I know, especially with women, um, we kind of jump the gun sometimes, or we have like this preconceived notion a little bit about things. And it would be nice to just be able to say thank you.
And yes, 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 yes. And the workplace has become particularly a place where this is so um, touchy. Like, this is like, oh my God, it's become, because like in Venezuela, right? That's where I'm from. We Latinos are always complimenting people or saying things that could be considered somewhere else, stepping outside the line, or crossing boundaries. And for us, it's like, they call you honey,
Mm-hmm.
dear, sweetheart. Even if they don't know you, you go to a bakery and ask for a coffee, and the person giving you the coffee says, "What, sweetie? What can I do for you? Hi, honey." And in the office, that happens a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, we know when that is overstepping, where that is crossing a boundary, where where it shouldn't. We feel it because it's an
Mhm.
energy thing, right? Other than that, I mean, just take it, because here is something that we can't avoid. There is a female nature and there
Mhm.
is a male nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I love that. And I like that too, because when somebody's saying sweetie or honey, it's a form of affection and endearment. It's like in politeness. I
Yeah.
mean, there are times when it's not, but like you said, it's an energetic thing and you feel it. Or if it's somebody talking down to you, especially in the workplace, that's a little bit different, but that's not what we're talking about.
No, I'm not talking about those, right? Because even the tone will tell you that. If they go like, "Yeah, sweetie." I mean, that is a totally different sweetie than, "What, sweetie? What can I do for you?" You know? It's like
Exactly.
and it's not in the words, it's in the tone, it's in the face, it's in the voice. It's so
Yeah.
it's not on the in the word sweetie. It's
No,
on
it's really
how
not.
you say it.
There's me and my friends, I can't even remember where I heard this, but and I think you'll find this funny too. We call it an ocular pat down when somebody's like checking you out and you feel naked.
Yes, yes.
It's totally different than somebody admiring.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we in Venezuela, all comedy shows back in the day when I was younger, they would, sometimes you have a scene with this woman with a big, big boobs and low cut, how do you call this? The cleavage?
Blouse, yeah, the
Yeah.
cleavage.
Yes. And the guy is staring right down there, right?
Hmm.
And then you have all these sketches that go like, hey, it's up here. Yeah, up here. Look up here. I mean, you can even make it, unless of course it's a pervert, other kind of thing. It's like everything can be turned into a positive moment of connection, even when you're setting the boundary.
Yeah, exactly.
Even when you're saying, you know what? No, I don't go there, and I
Yeah,
don't like that. That could be a stepping stone into a great relationship with someone.
I like that. And you don't have to turn it negative instantly, because honestly, most people aren't out to offend. Most people aren't out to make other people uncomfortable. I mean, granted, it can happen from time to time, but that's usually not the goal.
Well, in my years of studying this and working with people, what I have found out is that most men are noble men. They
Hmm.
want what's best for you.
Hmm.
They really want to make their women happy. And this is their wife, partner, sister, mother, and coworker.
Hmm.
Men want who are genuinely healthy men, healthy within the boundaries, right? I'm not talking spectrum.
Hmm.
Those have to be dealt with hospitals or the medical community or the law. I mean, we're not talking about those. But anybody in the middle are men who really, really want to make you happy. Every time I ask men about this, inevitably they all say, yes, I do, but I don't know how. Many times they don't know how, and we women don't know how to ask for it either, because
Yeah.
we've stepped into a new world where I think neither of us knows how to behave.
Exactly. Before we go to commercial break, I wanted to share something with you that I think is kind of, I mean, and I'm not excusing the behavior, you'll understand. I was living in New York City and, it's really tight quarters on the subway, and a gentleman was behind me and was rubbing himself on me.
Mm,
And obviously, that is definitely crossing the line. I mean,
no
there's no
doubt.
excuse for that, but
Mhm.
I'll tell you, I turned around and I looked at him and I said, do you mind? And he was so apologetic. And I still, even though that wasn't right, I was able to let that go because he genuinely was. I mean, he was embarrassed. Everything, you name it. Like, I don't know if he was even aware. Honestly, I don't really know, but instead of making it a huge deal, it was like, okay. And I felt like I stood up for myself. So yeah, that was, for me, that was great. I mean, not
Of
the
course.
situation, but
And in those situations, you have to stand up for yourself because you
yeah,
don't know. You don't know if this is a true pervert that can escalate to something else, and you got to set the boundary. Absolutely, yes. Now,
exactly.
what he
Exactly.
does after that
Yeah,
can determine where this is going to go. Really, if you're
exactly.
going to end up calling the police,
And I could have, probably,
absolutely, or
but
you're just going to take his apology
yeah.
and let him know.
And I felt it was so genuine. It's an energetic thing. So I could let that go. But anyway, we do need to go to commercial break. When we come back, I would love to talk to you more about the masculine and the feminine energy and embracing all of that within each of us. So we'll
All
be back
right.
in just a minute. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Julianne. You're watching Own Your Wellness, and let's bring our fabulous guest back to the stage. Oh, I'm so excited that you're here and that we are talking about things that I think are really needed and misunderstood in today's day and age. And I'm curious, for the audience as well. We've sort of talked a little bit about you coaching, and could you tell us a little bit more about what that is?
Sure. So I decided to coach people when I realized that so many women today are living the way I was.
Mhm.
Right when I resigned from Microsoft, I was on a shaky marriage, which ended up in a divorce of 22 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And very stressed. My health was suffering as well. I was getting migraines that almost left me blind.
Wow.
Um, and it was not good. And when I learned that I was totally out of balance, of course, in many areas of my life as well, not only my personal, because I was living mostly in my masculine energy. Like I was a do, go, 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 get, compete, compete. And though I had my feminine side, which I embraced at some moments where I wrote, I loved poetry, but I didn't do that as much. I realized I was losing my marriage because of that.
Mm.
I was controlling, I was critical. Um, it was not good. So when I started this journey to heal myself and just embrace my feminine, it was a scary thing. It was super scary. It was super hard. It still is. Listen, sometimes I have my days and my issues but when I saw this, I could see so many of the people close to me having exactly the same problem. And our society and the way it is built, and it has been like that for thousands of years, patriarchy is a real thing. We can't deny that. And it's the whole world is moved by masculine energy, by getting, by doing. And now we have some movements that are bringing the feminine. They don't call it that, which is, the green movement. Let's save the planet. Let's plant a tree. The water, we got to save. All that is feminine energy, but we don't call it that. So when I saw that, I said, I have to share this message. I have to bring women like me to the other. I'm not going to say to the other side, to embrace their feminine, to see the value in having that vulnerability. Brene Brown talks about this so much, and she's made a whole, very famous career on vulnerability, which is absolutely essential to all human beings to create long-lasting, deep, and profound relationships.
Mm-hmm.
As it is receiving, as it is creating, as it is communication, connection, all that lives in the feminine. So that's when I said, I got to teach this. So I started first. I didn't start with coaching because I didn't know how to coach.
Fair enough.
Yeah, right. I started with the workshops. I started having talks. Then COVID hit, and I just, I went online and had and basically that's how I started. Today, I coach women one-on-one as well as through my workshops, groups of, but I do one-on-one coaching to help them enhance that side of themselves, and it's fabulous. I have one of my girls, and she sent me an invitation for her wedding.
Oh, I love that.
In June. Um, so it's super fulfilling, and it's wonderful.
Something that I wanted to like sort of, I don't know, maybe point out or talk about is even from my perspective, because, I'm somebody that works in media, and that is a male dominated, male energy field. It is so masculine that there are times that, you know, I say it to my husband, I want to be the woman. And and it's not that I need to be taken care of, but I need to be soft, and I need to just relax into that feminine energy and feel safe. And it's not weakness. It's not
Mm-mm.
for worse. It's just my natural state. I'm not saying that I can't have feminine energy in what I do as well, but it's a little bit different. And I'm curious what your thoughts are, because you mentioned about your client getting engaged, and to me that is like when you allow yourself to feel all the feminine energy that you have in you, and then also allow your partner to be himself. And it's not like one's better than the other, it's just more natural, in a natural state.
Yes, and that's a huge thing, especially today with all that's going on with gender preference
Mm-hmm.
and how you identify and all kinds of things, right? So
Yeah.
I address this issue from the point of view of biology, of birth, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was born in the body of a woman. So my chemistry, my biology is prone to feminine female hormones, female chemistry. That chemistry is the one that serves my body best. The chemistry of the man is different. Though we have the same hormones, the proportions are different, right? The needs of our bodies are different. And when we do things, and I think medicine is going that way, thank God, to a more holistic view.
Mm.
What I do impacts how I feel, and that impacts all the chemistry in my body. It's inevitable. So if you're in a masculine energy or in a masculine work, right, which is most work, work requires masculine energy because the masculine energy is the one that does, that
Yeah.
it's the doing, right? So when we're there, but we never bring the feminine, the woman gets out of balance in
Hmm.
a different way than a man.
Yes.
And women at the workplace are twice as stressed than men, more 2 times more stressed than men, and they are 4 times more stressed at home than men. Now, why is this? I mean, it's logical. The workplace is designed for masculine
Yeah.
energy or masculine traits, but our bodies are female.
Hmm.
You see how that can create this imbalance and hence disease.
Exactly, exactly. Something too that I want to point out and that we haven't actually touched on yet is when men embrace their feminine energy as well, doesn't make them less masculine.
Well, this could be a whole program, right? But the answer is yes. I mean, yes, in that moment.
In that moment.
Does it do it permanently? No.
Mhm.
Because the same for us, right? When we're in our masculine energy, we are relinquishing the feminine. We're not using it.
Yeah, you're
So
not doing both at the same
we are
time.
more masculine. So that's why, and I was talking to somebody the other day, and she said that she didn't like the word balance. And she explained why. And I'm like, yes, I like that because I'm calling myself a balance coach, right? But she had a very, very interesting point, which is she likes more ebb and flow than balance. Balance assumes that it has to be equal all the time, which is not the case.
Yeah.
What I say is you use the energy that makes more sense in the instant and moment that you're at right now, and depending on what you're doing.
Exactly.
So you're in an office looking at Excel spreadsheets, crunching numbers, masculine energy. You're just doing that, right? Solving problems, figuring out strategies to get the competition. Those are masculine energy traits. But then you might connect with a coworker that is losing it, and you say, "Can I help you? I mean, are you feeling all right? Do you need a minute?" That's feminine energy. You see, from one instant to the next, you're going to a different energy. Now, it's a matter of being aware of what do you need in that moment.
Hmm.
That being said, yes, the workplace requires more masculine energy than feminine. Yes, I feel we should bring more of the feminine. I heard John Gray the other day, the author of Mars and Venus,
Yeah.
and I gotta listen to the interview again, but he said the masculine, and I want to make sure that I listen to it again, so I'm cautious about with what I'm repeating. Um, that it totally makes sense that the feminine energy does not have a place in the workplace, right? Or it's not as important in the workplace as the masculine. I do agree that the masculine energy is absolutely the most used and makes sense in the workplace. What I don't agree is that the feminine doesn't have equal importance.
Yes, I'm with you on that one.
So, like I said, I'm going to listen to the interview again and make sure I'm understanding this. But why do I say this? Today, the world is a different world than it was in the Industrial Revolution.
Hmm.
Today, the world, the people, the planet. need feminine energy if we want to survive. And if we want to survive in a good, healthy way that preserves life. That cannot be done on masculine energy alone,
No.
or prevalent, or just using masculine. Companies that are embracing the feminine, what is that? That is companies that, like Patagonia, I keep saying this, and I'm promoting their company, but it is what they do, right? They are taking care of the planet as they sell their products, as they do all these things. They're not doing either or,
Yeah.
but it's the feminine energy, the one that makes them want to preserve the planet. It's the one that makes them want to say to a father, you have the permission to take as much time to be with your kids as the wife does.
Mm-hmm.
That is pure feminine energy.
It is.
Right? So
Yeah.
it is possible and necessary to bring the feminine energy to the workplace, and that our leaders, men and women, do that. And women are not. Women are being as masculine in the workplace as any men. I'm talking energetically.
Exactly, exactly. And this whole idea, I want to go back to the idea of balance because that's always like nails on a chalkboard to me. I don't believe in balance, and my word instead is harmony because I feel like it's never ever going to be, I mean, very rarely equal. And like this whole idea of it's not that one is more important than the other. They're just as important as, but they're different, and that's okay. Otherwise, it would be exactly the same in one thing and not two. So, but
Well, the world couldn't exist if that wasn't the
without that
case, right?
duality, yes,
Duality,
exactly,
polarity is why you, I, and everything that is material on this planet exists. Period.
exactly,
Period.
exactly,
And whenever it's out of balance, there is chaos.
exact. That
I
is
mean,
so
out of
true.
balance, meaning that the duality is not there, right?
Exactly,
It,
yeah,
it can't be physically. And this is why this is so important. Physically, chemically, biologically, it's impossible. I mean, something is going to happen. You're going to get a disease. Your body is going to suffer. There's going to be an earthquake because things got out of whack, et
hmm.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, coming from the health and wellness industry for as long as I worked in there, there's this saying that, I mean, it didn't necessarily come from there, but it always stuck with me was there's also too much of a good thing, like if it's too much of one, it's not going to be good. It doesn't matter and same thing for broccoli and kale and spinach. If you have too much, it's not good for you. There comes a point.
Right. If you're only living on broccoli and kale, you're going to miss a whole other things that you
Oh,
need.
and it's actually, yeah, because it will actually mess you up internally too. So, like, you shouldn't be. I mean, there's just so many details that people don't even think about. It's like we're trying to make one right and one wrong, or good or bad, and it's not about that. I think you and I look at this sort of similarly as an embracing all.
Yes. Yes. Because here's the thing. I got so much pushback, and I still do, from hardcore extreme feminists, right? On my whole project. I even
Sure.
had one tell me, "Oh, so you're proposing we go back to the 50s and before, where we let men abuse us and do whatever." And I'm like, when have I said that? Like, that is by far not what I'm proposing at all. Now, well,
You-
I'm not proposing either. Like, you would never hear me say, we need to go to a matriarchal society now,
No,
dominated by women, dominated by the feminine energy. All has to be feminine energy. That world would collapse. That world would implode the same way the patriarchy is not the right thing either.
exactly. You know what I find kind of ironic about that, the hardcore feminist, is that energy behind that aggression is very masculine.
Well, that's where it's coming from. Yes.
To me, it's kind of funny. You're pro feminine, but
And this is a great segue to something I explain in my workshops. The very first thing that I do, right, which is the difference between roles, biology, and energy. Because when we talk about feminist movement and the hardcore feminists, usually we're talking about rights, right? They are not talking about energy.
No.
It's not even in the conversation. What they're fighting and so angry about is the rights of women.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. I am so for that.
Mm-hmm.
Rights, and they shouldn't be rights for women only. For me, rights are human rights.
Exactly.
Regardless of whether you're this gender or you have this preference or you're a man or you're a woman or you're black or you're tall or you're short, it's human rights.
Mm-hmm.
And by us separating it, we are undermining each cause. Like it should be one whole big movement of human rights where
Exactly.
we all are together wanting the same rights based on, whatever we decide it's the thing that we want those rights to be about. But they mix it with what's good and beneficial for a woman,
Mm-hmm.
ignoring the fact that we are in a woman's body.
Yes.
It's just like, whoa. Well, here's the thing. I can't point fingers. That used to be me.
Me
Um,
too. Me too.
Listen,
We're not.
I emasculated men as I see many women do today, and I help them stop doing that because it aches. It just pains me when
Yeah.
I'm in a room and a woman is being emasculating, or contemptuous, right? Those rolls of the eyes when a guy talks and you just roll your eye like, oh my God, you're so dumb, you're so stupid, or there you go. I mean, ah, but I did it. I used to be that.
Me too. Me too. But when we know better, we do better. Um, on that note, we do need to go to our last commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation because I think it's really important and just sort of defining things a little bit more so people understand where we're coming from because you're one of the few that actually talks about this. And I'm so blessed that you're here. So thank you. We will be right back after these commercials. Welcome back, everyone. Let's bring our guest back to the stage because I don't want to waste any time. I'm like, crap, we only have 10 minutes left. I can't believe it. It goes so quickly. But anyway, during the commercial break, I was thinking a lot about masculine and feminine energy. And I'm curious, we've talked about a lot of different things and still basically scratch the surface, but I'm curious what you would love to share that you find that people really miss the mark or misunderstand about what it is that you teach and communicate,
Uh,
or
hmm.
that you fix. Do you understand what I mean? Like to.
I think so. Yes. Let me see if this is what you mean. Um, One of the things that I fix is this. I guess I mentioned it right before we went to the break, which was the fact that the role, the biology, and their energies are not the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing that we get all wrong, right? I have housewives usually saying, but I am always in my feminine energy. I am feminine. I'm a housewife taking care of my kids.
Yeah.
And I have mentioned this before. A friend of mine, she came, I invited her to one of my talks during COVID, a Zoom, and I'm explaining this. And she goes like, wait, am I a housewife with masculine energy? Well, based on what you're explaining of how you live your life and you do your things during the day and you take care of your kids and you cook, yes. And that to me was, oh, wow. People really don't understand the difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of what I do, the role that I play, and what feminine energy is. So that is one thing that I explain and that help women become, and men, because they don't know this either, by the way, become very clear. The role does not dictate whether you're using feminine or masculine energy. The role is the role. The role is what you do. You're a policeman, you're a teacher, you're a mom. Those are roles that you play in society. Your feminine and masculine energies are tied with the things that you do, yes, and the biology. So that is one thing. The other thing is, and I think this is where the biggest resistance comes, and when they release it and they say, oh, okay, healing and change and transformation can happen, which is you're a woman. There are things that are beneficial for you in your body, in your emotions as a woman. Because we have been taught so much that we have to be equal in it, that we have the possibility to do everything the same. We need to do the we yes, we that is all true, but you got to be aware of the consequences of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. It's just awareness. And one of the things that I teach every day, every time, and they know, like, it's the first thing that I make them say in my coaching. What are you aware of? Right this moment, right this instant, after we do a relaxation, that I always start with that, is what are you aware of? Now, you can do all the masculine things. It's no problem with that, but be aware of it. Be aware of the consequences of doing that. And when you say, I'm overwhelmed and I'm super stressed, okay, so pause for a second. How much are you going to your feminine? How much are you allowing yourself to be vulnerable in a conversation with someone? How much are you receiving? How much are you asking for help and
Mm-hmm.
allowing people to help you? How much are you connecting? If you're not doing any of that and you're a woman, it's different for men. That's a whole other conversation, but it's different for men because the biology is different, right? But for a woman who is not doing that, there are severe consequences on estrogen levels, progesterone levels. What oxytocin and serotonin does in your body gets impacted by all of that, and hence your health suffers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are the main things that I teach, and people go like, oh wow.
I think that is really great clarification too for even myself, because it's not just energy that people think of as woo woo, or things that you can't touch, but it actually is biological as well. It will affect your body. So it's not just, I'm going to be more feminine or I'm going to be more masculine, or it's not about that. And I think that is such a, it's kind of just enhancing, if I'm hearing you correctly, learning how to enhance your natural state, learning how to balance and be the healthiest version of you possible. and come forward in the world the way that you want to.
Yes. And yes, it is about finding, going back to and this is going to sound like so cliche, but it's going back to who you were. Like when at birth,
Yes.
we have the innate blessing to use the feminine and the masculine energy as needed.
Yes, exactly. And like you said, just being aware.
Being aware, being aware. Awareness is just such a powerful tool. Awareness is it changes everything in your life.
For me too, I think about like just the awareness of, yeah, I'm going to take it back to just like eating. There are times, you know what, ice cream, obviously for health, it's not healthy, but for me in particular, it messes with my stomach. So it's never a good idea for me to eat ice cream. However, there are times where I'm going to make that decision knowing full well
What are the
that I'm
consequences?
aware. I walk into it knowing it's a lot better than going, what's going on? And just like falling into this.
Listen, it is all about awareness. And from the awareness, then you live the life that you want. You're not just going through life as someone whose life is hitting you, taking you places. You are
Exactly.
deciding to go places based on your awareness, right? And the feminine and the masculine energies is a full awareness. You can do anything in life, and I have proven this to so many women and men, more women than men, that you can do any activity, any, with either energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can drink a coffee with feminine or masculine energy. You can get dressed. Women feel, oh, I have lipstick, my hair is done, I'm in my feminine energy. No, no. And our mutual friend Steve, we talked about this, right? Because he was curious about women going to the workplace like all done up and tight clothes and this and that. So they were in their feminine. I said, maybe, maybe not. We don't know.
Yeah.
If you're doing it to raise eyebrows, if you're doing it to get someone to say yes to you, to sign that contract, you're doing it with the masculine energy.
It's about the intention behind it and like you said, the energy. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's not about the action like you were saying. You could do it with either energy.
Either energy. You can put the lipstick on and in your total masculine energy because that is the thing to do based on where you're going to. Versus, I love this red lipstick because of how it makes me feel. Then
Yes.
I'm doing it with my feminine energy. You see?
Oh, that's
So one
fascinating.
action can be done with either energy. All it takes is awareness.
I love that. I love that. We only have about 30 seconds left. I'm just curious if there's any final thoughts that you want to share quickly with the audience, either something that you've shared before or maybe something new.
Uh, no, I just want to say that please, please, please look into this. Don't even believe what you just heard. Just look to it and try it for yourself. Women out there, try to embrace your feminine, feel it, because I'm a super believer of feeling it, and that's why my workshops are all about doing it and feeling it in your body. You can have an intellectual exercise and get nowhere until you feel the feminine
Mm-hmm.
inside your body and you feel the chemistry of your body change when you do not emasculate a man, when you say thank you to a man, when you look at him and you appreciate all of what he is. When you feel that, that's the only way you're going to know the feminine.
I love that. I love that. On that note, that is all the time that we have for today. I want to say thank you so much for joining us and sharing your knowledge. And we've popped up your website a few times and your TED Talk. You guys got to check it out. It's phenomenal. And thank you so much for being here. And for those of you who are watching, thank you for watching. We'll see you again next Thursday. Bye for now.
Thank you, Julie.